Okay, so we're group 28, and we're going to be talking to you about the effects of new technology on recording, the fall of recording studios, and the rise of self-recording.
For a brief introduction, we're going to show you the questions we tackled with our research. How has the emergence of new technology changed the recording process? How has the producer's role in relationship with the musician changed? How has it affected the cost and time associated with recording? And what are the pros and cons of this musical recording paradigm shift? We're going to go with a little history to start us off with. Recording music used to be much more elite and uncommon practice among musicians just starting up, and singles were most commonly recorded, with actual full-length LPs occurring almost never due to cost margins. Bands used to record live with everyone performing at once with very little post-production. It wasn't until innovative bands such as the Beatles, the Beach Boys, and producers such as Phil Spector experimented with the recording process and invented more creative ways of recording. The entire format of recording after that was changed. In the 90s, indie rock bands such as Pavement, Elliott Smith, Daniel Johnston, and Guided by Voices popularized the lo-fi sound, with much of the recording done in porta-studios or portable studios, such as small Tascam tape 4-track tape decks, lending to a low-quality, raw recording sound. Modern technology has allowed for the quality of studio recordings to be reproduced in small-scale home settings, allowing many more musicians the opportunity to record their own music.
So, we're going to go ahead and show you how home recording studios are set up, what they look like, and how they work. And to help us with that, we're going to have an interview with Reed Santiago, who attends FAU on a scholarship for music production and drumming. He's going to give us a look inside his own home studio.
Welcome, I'm Reed. Let me show you my project studio. Welcome. This is my control room. Right here I have my screen, my monitors for all good playback using Pro Tools. When I go to sequence music, I usually use my MPC. This is a drum machine. I have a sequence that I have started that I could finish at any time with Pro Tools. But instead, I'll take you through a couple things that I like to do beforehand. I make sure that my levels are nice and tight. Make sure nothing's distorted when it goes into the M-Box. And first of all, an M-Box is a digital interface right here. You can pick one up at any guitar center, and it pretty much turns your analog music into a digital playback source. So, first, step one, I usually like to start with a beat. And nowadays people use MPCs for good drum machines to recreate a drum set. And then step two, I like to generate a melody either with a piano, a guitar, or even a turntable or a sample that I can also sample with the drum machine. You can paste whatever the heck you want. That's really awesome. Nowadays with a lot of home studios, would you say the costs have changed?
Oh man, I mean people like myself started like a project studio, which is pretty much can start in your bedroom, your dorm room. That can start. I mean cost always varies. You can buy an interface for $300 and then buy a piano, where you can buy an actual digital audio workstation, which is a piano and recording system. But that can range up to like $3,000-$4,000, or maybe up to $50,000. It all depends. But if you really want to just start small, buy a small interface and do home recording, buy a decent mic and good quality sound.
We discovered that in music, the relationships you develop are a very, very important facet of what the whole thing is all about. We're going to discuss the atmosphere of a home recording studio because that's perhaps one of the most important changes from that of a real studio to that of a home studio. First of all, it's a lot less professional. That can be a very good thing. In some cases, especially extreme ones, it can be a bad thing, but overall, it allows for a lot more creativity to flow between the artist and the producer. Also, the increased amount of interaction, it helps foster a real relationship between musicians and producers because it eliminates the musicians' feeling of inferiority to the engineer due to the business nature of actual studios. Also, home studios allow a lot less pressure on the musician, which can allow them to get a lot better material recorded.
Alright, well, I figure I'd step you through a quick little beat real quick, sequence some music. First, I'd start by recording through Pro Tools. Just first of all, start. Just to get a good, clean representation of how recording's done, we'll do 2 tracks at one time. Usually, in the music business, this isn't done like this, but usually you layer everything over one another. But right now, I'm going to start the drum machine, record the drum machine in, and I'm going to take you over here to my piano, where I have gone ahead and set up a good synthesizer noise, and I can go ahead and just play a simple little melody, and hopefully it matches, and we'll play it back. And full and. Alright, there's just a little 4-bar sequence right there. So if we go over to the piano, Pro Tools, go ahead and stop everything from playing, and we go ahead and give it a little playback. As you see, we got to jump ahead. Right here, this is where the beat will start playing in. We'll zoom in for where the piano is going to start. Right here's the piano. It's that easy. So come back if you want to learn something else.
Okay, so we're going to be going over the costs of the different kinds of recording, so studio recording costs. We went to different places in Gainesville and different recording studios, and the average cost of studio time seems to be $30 to about $200 per hour. The average cost to record a whole album in a studio, because sometimes they'll make a deal with you for a certain amount of time to do a whole CD, is $2,000 or more. But here we go to the self-recording costs, and you've got the little recorder in the middle, right here, and that's the Zoom H4. It's $215. You can probably get it on places like Craigslist for less money even, and that's the least expensive, pretty accessible to everybody, and has a really great sound, which we'll show you in a second. And my partner's going to talk about Pro Tools.
Pro Tools is the studio standard now for both actual studios and home studios. It's a software that not only is very, very high quality, but also not too hard to use. And with that, you have the inbox, which is the interface that allows you to connect your instruments to the computer and record it onto Pro Tools. One of the most important things about self-recording, though, is that you are in control of your own music, which is priceless. And now we're going to have our friend Philip Bauer and Reed from before talk about some of the benefits of Pro Tools and give us a little tour of Pro Tools.
Phil has a degree in audio engineering from SAE. He's going to school right now for jazz guitar at FAU. He's also a guitar and drum teacher at the Fort Lauderdale School of Rock, just to introduce him. So here they are.
And how did you get, what began to interest you of recording your music?
After high school, I thought it was pretty interesting. You can just do everything on a computer these days, so I figured I'd learn some stuff about recording.
Now, you went to school for recording. How was that?
It was pretty dope. We got on a bunch of different gear, such as the SSL behind me, and Pro Tools rigs and everything. It's pretty sweet.
So, for a typical project, how would you get started on that?
Well, it all starts with a computer and an interface and a microphone. Just start with the raw basics and get going from there.
So this is a recording that I did on the Zoom H4, which we talked about earlier. Don't you Okay, and that was just a little sample.
In conclusion, with the fast-paced nature of technological advances, the future of music is unpredictable due to its ever-changing nature. Through our research, we have concluded that contrary to popular belief, technology hasn't killed the soul of music. It has actually led to a more hands-on approach and attitude for musicians towards the recording process. Even a lot of the kids that we met along the way have asked us to come back and record, and it's also given rise to a more tight-knit musical community that doesn't necessarily have to go through the standard music channels to get music out to the public.